Okay, so for chapter 5, this is going to be one of the most important chapters as we go forward in this course. And this is the skill set which we are looking um, for you all to gain as you decide to become or go into your merchandising careers. One of the things what we will do in this chapter would be creating a 6-month plan, and we will go in steps. They're pretty easy, but I will need you to do the different problems which I've identified, because I think those are going to help you go forward. And I'll go over some of those problems today as well. Um, I am unclear at this point as to how we will, maybe for next lab, we will do it together. So then hopefully then we can manage our time well in that way. So for this chapter, first we will start off with, I'm not going in the sequential order of the slides. It would have been different if it was face-to-face, but I'm going in the order of how a merchandise plan would look like. And I'm starting with simpler topics, and then I'll put some more slides to help you understand different aspects of the merchandise plans. So I see that Savannah has, Savannah, you were not clear about something, I guess.
No, I was good with the problems, just like some of
Okay.
the slides, but I think I was just off.
Okay, so would you be able to tell me which slides they were? Was it related to the slide numbers which I put, or other slides?
I think it was other slides.
Okay, let's not go to the other slides first. So we'll finish with the slides which I did mention in my announcement, because the other slides are a little bit more complex, and that's what I want to simplify a little bit when I send you some supplementary slides, I guess. I would have normally done that on a DocCam in a class situation. So with now, what I will do is I will have it more in a slide presentation. So wait for that slide, and then we can go over the other slides. Is that okay, Savannah?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Any other questions as you went through those concepts for planned sales and planned markdowns? Okay. One of the things as an introduction to 6-month merchandise plans, remember these are plans. And 6-month merchandise plans are generally done ahead almost a year, where you're planning from last year's sales, last year numbers, and it's a best educated guess. So most likely you're not going to change your numbers a lot from last year, unless you have a completely different assortment, unless you have started a completely new department, have invested quite a bit in promotions, and you expect really huge sales difference. Only then you will see a little bit of an up figures when you're planning, but most likely you're going to follow the last year's sales numbers. So especially when we talk about the planned sales and the slide number which I said, what you've seen in the planned sales concepts is you're saying for this year, you're seeing from last year, you're going to see a 10% increase or maybe 5% increase from last year's sales. So in that case, what do you think we should be doing? And anybody can jump in, and I would strongly encourage for you to jump in. So if I said my last year's sales was 100,000, and this year I am expecting a 5% increase, how much would that be for this year planned season total sales?
Last year's sales dollars plus the increase dollars.
Okay, and how would I find the increased dollars?
Wouldn't you multiply last year's sales by the increase percent?
Absolutely. And who was this? Sorry, I didn't.
That was Nick, sorry.
Okay, not a problem. Yes, absolutely right, Nick. So you're going to take 5% of the last year's sales and add it to the last year's sales to come to a number for this year's sale, which would be 105,000 in this case, which I guess would be, give me 1 minute, I'm going to share a screen. So this was chapter 5, problem number 4. I think this was one of the problems which we said, which I told you to try. Not sure if you've tried this or not, but if you look at this, it says the gift department is planned up by 1.5%, and the holiday sales were 52,000. So what was the sales plan? And as Nick talked about it, so we take just the last year actual sales times 1.5%. So that $780 is just your amount of sales increase. It is not the total season sales for the next season. And please stop me if you have any questions. And this one is basically looking at planned sales increase plus the actual sales. So planned sales would be 52,780. Now a shortcut, if you may, and you can choose this way, I have no problem, absolutely. The other way which you could also do is just add that 1.5% to 100 and multiply that with 52,000 and you would still get the same number. Now this shortcut might be helpful for you when you're doing it on Excel for your labs. Or you can do this first method where you'll have a couple of parentheses to come to the same answer. Is everybody okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so one of the things is when I'm sharing the screen, I can't see the chat window. So it would be great if you could tell me to stop, or if it's okay for me to go forward and things of those sort, or if you have any questions. So does anybody of you have any questions with this problem?
Dr. Didi, it's Nick again.
Yes.
So in the lab, when we're putting in the equation, would we have to show that it's in parentheses 100% plus 1.5%, or could we
No,
just?
you can just put 101 or 100.5%. That's
Okay,
perfect.
thank you. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions before we go to the next problem? Okay. So now this is what we are going to do on an Excel sheet. So I thought this was a great problem to just do by itself and then do on an Excel sheet. So chapter 5, problem number 10. This basically is giving you, if you read the question, it says during August, sales for the sporting goods were planned at 900,000, which is 15% of the planned season totals. Now, do you think that 900,000 is the season total? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. What about others? There are about 23 of us on this one.
I say no as well.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay. Right. If we read this very carefully, it says 900,000, which is 15% of the planned season total. So 900,000 is for the month of August. And as you look over in that place, it also gives you 15% for August. So 900,000 is 15% of the total sales. So how do we find the total sales when total sales are not given to us? And when I say total sales, it's for the entire season for the 6 months. So you see here, it would be 900,000 divided by 15%, which would be $6 million. That's your season total. And then when you're doing each of those months, you're taking that $6 million and then doing the percentages. I want you to remember this because sometimes you don't have the season total. You're working on a competitor's sheet. You know what their month of whichever month, let's say July or August, you knew their sales. You know the percentage. It would be easy for you to calculate the season total for the entire season, entire 6 months. Okay. Now, what I do want you to do is add up all these percentages and tell me how much that comes up to.
It comes up to 100%, I think.
Going to pause share so I can see the chat window from everyone. Savannah said it is 100%.
I got 100% as well.
Okay. Kirsten, I see your question, whether it's a lecture or a lab. I would say it's mixed, but you're not going to get graded for the lab. But I would want you to have your Excel sheet open as we do the Excel sheet in a couple of minutes. Okay. So I see most of you did get 100%. Now the thing to remember is all the time, all your percentages are going to equal to 100%, because remember that $6 million is the complete pot of money, and you are taking percentages of those which you're redistributing among the 6 months. So ultimately all the percentages have to be equal to 100. So if some percentages are not given, some dollars are given, you should be able to figure that out on an Excel sheet. Okay, how are we doing? Is everybody doing okay?
All good.
All good? Okay, great. So what I want you to do now is, I'm hoping, I guess, is everybody has, I'm going to share my screen again, but at this time I'm going to open Canvas. So when you go to Canvas, everybody can see this Canvas place, yes? I told you to go over and download this file, Excel blank merchandise file. Yes? Everybody has it open?
Yep.
Okay. Now I also want you to have the merchandise plans PDF. And we are going to do this first problem. So as long as you have this first problem accessible on a shared screen, on a half screen, whatever that is, and we are just going to do season sales and markdowns. We are not going to worry about the rest for now. We will worry about those as we progress through. So let's use this problem as our practice problem as we figure out the 6-month plan for this particular problem using the stock to sales ratio. And we will go over that concept a little later. So, okay. So when we look at this problem, you see here, I'm going to open my PowerPoint, which does have this problem here. Okay. So when you look at this problem, what you can see is you have these monthly sales percentages, monthly markdown percentages, you have planned net sales for the 6-month duration. You have operating expenses, profit, cash discounts, markdowns, average stock, which we'll come back to it later. However, given all these percentages, what do you think you can calculate? Expenses, profits, cash discount, markdowns, what do you think you can calculate? Initial markup percent? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to work on this problem. Now to work on this problem, what I'm going to require you to do is open this Excel file. Everybody can see my Excel file?
No.
Yes or
No.
no?
No,
No.
Okay.
you're still on Canvas for us.
Oh, am I still on Canvas? Okay. Thank you for letting me know. I was on the other screen when I was looking at the PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm going to go on the PowerPoint. Okay. So everybody can see the PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So when I was talking before, it was about these 4 percentages, which we would be using to calculate our initial markup percent. This was our planned net sales, and these are our monthly sales and our monthly markdowns for these different months. We are not going to worry about the stock to sales ratio and the average stock at this point. Okay. So now we will go ahead and I'll go ahead and change. Share my Excel sheet. Does that look okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So as you review this Excel sheet, what I do want you to look at is the way it has been designed or used. You will see different versions of these in the companies which you go, but the elements are going to remain the same. Now your textbook also has a different version of it. So you're going to see lots of version of it, but what we always want to remember is these different aspects you're going to see in 6-month plan. So that's your sales, end of month stock, markdowns, beginning of month stock, planned purchases at retail, and planned purchases at cost. So these are your main elements of merchandise plans, and you will find it in either in this order, a different order, in different formats, depending on the company which you go, depending on the brands which you're working on. Okay, so now and you will have some more here as well. I've tried to keep it simple. So here you have last year's sales, planned sales percentages, again last year's in plan. So for now, for this problem, we are going to use we're just going to use what we know. So you have, so I want you to go ahead and fill in the percentage sales, very similar as 16, 17, 13. So this is all given information to you. 18, 22, 14. And please tell me if you're not able to see the screen. You should be able to see the screen. Okay. So let me know in chat if you're all ready. Um, if you're all ready till this stage on your Excel sheet. Thank you, Willa, for letting me know about that confusion. Yes, you could just go ahead. Generally, your 6 months plans are going to look like this. So it could be either okay, did I do that correctly? Let me just quickly check. Yes. Okay. Does that help, Willa and Olivia? Generally, your 6 month plans are going to have these both 6 months windows.
So should we change the dates in our Excel? Change the
Sorry,
months?
what is that again?
Should we change the months in our Excel form then?
You could just add these up. Like you could just add the August and stuff on the other row and it should be fine.
Okay.
And you can, I'll make a change on the main sheet as well, but whenever you're using, you can just keep that in mind and add that one row, and it could be applicable to either or. Okay, I'm still waiting on the others. So as you finish, please update in the chat window if you are ready so we could go forward. If you all can also mute on your end, that would be great so that we don't have any other voices coming in. Great. One of the first things which I generally like to start off with is checking whether all of these end up to be 100% or not. So I don't do it, you can do it right here. So you can do is equal to, you can click on this, plus this, plus this. And as we saw, that would be 100% as well. So you just want to make sure that it's always coming up to 100%. You will do the same with markdowns as well, because it's the total markdown which is getting distributed over the next 6 months. So the same thing here as well. Okay. Yes, I think everybody did those checkings. So as we distribute these percentage sales across each of these months, what you're going to do is you're going to take 16%, which is your monthly sales percentage, times your total sales. So monthly sales percentage times your total sales percentage. So go ahead and do for the rest of the months. So I'm going to do it again for September, but I'm going to wait on for you to finish till January. So monthly sales percentage times season totals. So you're going to do that for each month. And if you have any questions, put it in the chat group so I could help you out there. Once you're ready with the rest of the months, please update in the chat window so I know that I need to check. So as I'm doing it, make sure you're checking your answers as well. And if you're not getting the same answers, let me know so we can work through as to why you're not getting the same answers. And just on a side note, for your final exam, you will be given one of these sheets to complete. So my aim is to get you all practice to at least 10 sheets or more. So it would be really important for you to go over the concepts, understand the relationships, and ask questions when you don't understand why a certain thing exists. So just be prepared that this is something which you will have on the exam. Okay. So I'm seeing most of you got it, I guess. So I'm moving on to markdown unless somebody wants me to wait up. If you want me to wait, message me in the chat window or say it to wait for a couple of minutes. Okay. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead with understanding how are we going to calculate the markdown dollars as well. So what I'm going to do, markdown percentages for each month was given to us. And this is what we talk about markdown strategy. So we talked about different types of markdowns when we were discussing markdowns in chapter 2. And we talked about a markdown strategy. This is exactly as one of those strategies as to how you distribute your markdowns across different months. And you might say, how do we come to this number? Generally, these numbers stay more or less very similar to last year's markdown percentages. So now to get to our total markdown dollars for the entire season, I'm going to use the 14%, which was given to us for the entire season. So 14% times net sales is our markdown percent to give you a total markdown dollars for the entire season. Okay. And then you go ahead and do the same exact thing where you redistribute from your total markdown dollars. Okay. Again, please, once you're ready, update in the chat window if you got it. So basically what was given to us, August was given to us. So all this you've calculated. So go ahead and highlight this to yellow so you know this is what you calculated. The same with markdowns. Again, a point of information, just for you to double check again. So all these 6 monthly sales dollars are going to equal to 280,000 when you add them up. And same with your markdown dollars. All these 6 months monthly markdowns are going to equal to 39,200 when you add all of them up. So it's good to keep checking your work as you work through problems, especially when you're doing your math assignment homeworks. Okay. So let's go ahead and do initial markup. So we just finished the exam on that. So I'm hoping the concept is a little bit fresh in your mind. So we had gross margin. So expenses plus profit gives you gross margin plus reductions. In this case, it's only markdowns because others are not given to you. So it's just going to be markdowns in this case, minus cash discounts. Divided by 100% plus reductions, again, in which case it is just markdowns for this particular problem. So you should have gotten 54.39%. So let me know if you got it or not. I have 15 responses out of about 25 people, so I'm hoping the others are also working on it. Okay, the floor is now open for questions because this was my plan for today. In our next lab, I plan to complete this sheet in the class time that would be next Monday at 11 o'clock. So again, it would be very similar to what we did today. We'll go over, before we go over on Monday for stock to sales ratio, I will go over the slides. I'll give you a little bit more information in supplementary slides. We'll discuss that on Monday at 11, and then we will do, we'll complete this problem in the lab portion of our time, and then you will do one more problem so that you know what we're doing. That's my plan for this week and next Monday. So hopefully, if you can join, that would be great, at 11 and at 2 next Monday. Or you will have to just work through the recording, and if you have any doubts, I may not be able to clarify right then. So does anybody of you have any questions? Okay, Villa has the question that, are we going to add this sheet to our final lab portfolio Excel book? Not right now, but next week when you finish this problem, yes. And we will do one more problem, so then you can put together both of these sheets in your final lab portfolio. So that would be considered our lab 7. This was very simple in my opinion. You guys have done much more complex calculations than what we have done today. So I'm hoping that you will be able to look over, practice this both by hand and by Excel, and let me know if you have any questions. So in your textbook, on page number, so problems 1 through 15 are all related to sales, net sales, but I would focus on 10 and 11, out of which we have already discussed number 10. There are no problems related to markdown specifically in this particular book, but that's okay. As long as you get the concept, we should be fine. And I will just in another 1 hour post what your reading assignments are, what your practice assignments are for the next week. And we'll meet back on Monday at 11 for discussion, and at 2 to do the lab like we did today. If you don't have any questions, you can leave the meeting. And if you do have, either you can speak or put it in the chat.
Thank you, Dr. Didi. I'm good. It's Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Maura. I miss seeing you all.
We miss you too.
I know.